Joining us now on the program is Kate Jones. Kate is one of numerous artists that you will find at this year's Orchard Lake Fine Art Show in West Bloomfield on July 30th and 31st. And she joins us now on the Megacast. Kate, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate having you on. So first off, tell us a little bit about your background and the art that you make and will be showing at this year's Orchard Lake Fine Art Show.
Well, I have been making puzzles, very special kind of puzzles. They're geometric pieces. Would you like to see one of them?
Sure, absolutely.
Here's an example of something that's very colorful and geometric. I've been making these since 1979. That's half my life. And what makes me have so much joy is that I see how people love them. And I came across them. I'm trying to make this a very short story. I came across them because I read about a certain special set of geometric pieces in a science fiction book. And I became so fascinated by the concept that, well, here's that set of pieces. I don't know if you can see that they're individual shaped wooden blocks. You can see how they look like different pieces. And they will fit together. Most people think of puzzles in terms of jigsaw puzzles, that you make one thing out of them.
Sure.
But in this case, there are thousands of different ways you can combine the pieces to make different arrangements. You can even put them together three-dimensionally. See, they fit very precisely.
So there are numerous different kinds of puzzles that you can make out of these puzzles. It's not just a one-size-fits-all experience, and that goes for every single one of these.
That's right. That's right.
What got you into this, Kay? When did you start? When did you start with this particular form of art, and what really made this so fascinating to you?
Well, way back when in past history, I happened to be in Iran, Persia, Iran, before their revolution, 1975. And that is where I came across this book that talked about puzzles. Now, before that, I have been a graphic artist for many years. That was my original profession, was a graphic artist, editor, writer, and so forth. And so when I came across these shapes in a book, I became so fascinated. And in the meanwhile, because we were sent to Iran for 3 or 4 years, my graphic arts business in Virginia was in the care of someone else. And eventually I sold it to them. So when we were brought out on a 3 days notice, because the revolution was starting, so they brought all the Americans home. 3 days notice, we were home and I said, well, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? And I'd been so involved working with these pieces that my American friends in Shiraz also became fascinated. And they said, well, why don't we start a new business? Just start a business, make these puzzles. And that's where it all started, 1979. And in the process of learning what to do as a business, my first thought was, well, everything we make would be sold to stores and the stores would sell it to the public. And that didn't work out because these are handmade. They're incredibly beautiful quality, fine hand-finished wood. My other things are acrylic, beautiful stained glass looking things. And stores didn't understand what I was doing. So I suddenly realized if I go to an art show and put out my display, and people can come and see them and talk about them and understand them and try them out, that was the best way for me to find customers for my unusual work. It's very unusual. I'm the only one who does this.
Yeah, it is very unusual. It's unique, and I go back to what you said about these puzzles being so malleable. There's so many different shapes and so many different end designs that you can get to. when making these puzzles, there's not that one size fits all. You get the box and you see, okay, this is what the puzzle is supposed to look like. When you're done with it, you shuffle all the pieces around, you put it back together. You have so many different ways you can put this puzzle together to make whatever ultimate end goal it is. How do you come up with these? What goes into designing these puzzles and ultimately making them so that they can fit what your vision is of them and potentially what someone else's vision might be of them?
Well, that's a wonderful question. Thank you for asking it that way. I discovered that because my original wooden set had 12 different shapes. We can see them here a little bit better. The 12 shapes are all different. And what they represent is all the possible ways that you can put 5 squares together. Now, 5 squares have these 12 ways. That's the whole family. That is the entire clan of the pieces that belong to that concept. So now that got me started on looking at other shapes. My second puzzle, made of circles. Now, this is my own invention. I didn't invent the original 12 pentominoes. These are my own invention. These are made of circles, size 1, 2, 3, and little bridges between them. So the geometric unity was very satisfying. And I found that it would go together to make beautiful patterns. So I will sit and work. Sometimes to develop one puzzle may take me 5 years because I have to do all the research. I have to figure out what all can they do. And now here's another one. This is a small one, but very difficult because every piece is a different shape made of 6 triangles. So if you look at them, you see there's one piece, that's the hexagon.
Yeah.
That's made of 6 triangles, but so are all the others. Well, this, I decided it should have 3 colors. In researching these puzzles, I fell into something called recreational mathematics. Now, I try to not use the word mathematics too often because it still scares people. But it is the simplest kind of mathematics, the kind that anyone can do. A child can do this. This one is a little hard for children. The first one I showed you is ideal for as young as 4 years old. And yet there are complex challenges for this that even a math professor will have a hard time sorting out. So it's the tremendous variety of ways. You can't do them wrong. This is one of the things I have to keep telling people. There are no wrong answers. Enjoy the process of finding and enjoy creating your own new things with it. It isn't just what I have put in the book and said, do this, do this, do this. No, you get to discover all your own wonderful ideas as well. So it's creative.
Yeah, and that's what I love about this, Kate, and about these puzzles is because, like you said, you're able to create your own creation out of it. You are putting together a puzzle. You're solving this brain teaser, which is what puzzles inherently are, but doing it in a way that also taps into your own creativity. And ultimately, your goal isn't to find the solution. Your goal is to find a solution, and maybe it's similar for a lot of people or it's different for a lot of people. That's all in the beauty of creating this art and allowing people to interact with it in the way that they do. And so for you, not only are you creating these puzzles, you have a bunch of other games that you're creating as well through Kadon Enterprises. More information can be found on all of those at gamepuzzles.com. What are some of the other products and other games that you and your business has come up with, and how do they kind of follow along the lines of these puzzles?
Thank you. That's a wonderful question. I wish more people would ask me that. That's beautiful. Well, I have over 200 puzzles now that have evolved out of looking for shapes. Back behind me, I don't know if you can see it or not, up there, see that gigantic one up there?
Yeah, top right corner.
Well, that is the advanced form of this first one I showed you. So this one is fine for even 7-year-olds. We have advanced, some things are more difficult to get into for young children. But ultimately, I designed for grown-ups who can then teach it to their children step by step. Starts with easy and gets more complex, because that is how I visualize everything in the world. The way people invent things, the way people build things. Humans are the most amazing life form on earth because they have original thinking going on. And so by having easy, medium, and advanced things, it gives everyone a chance to feel that satisfaction of having conquered it. And as I was saying, I sometimes spend 5 years to develop one of them. Now, one of the things that have happened, very lucky for me, I have a lot of friends who love what I do. And now they have come up with ideas that we can develop together. I don't have here one to show you, but we also make game boards, beautiful wooden geometric game boards and pieces. And these are what's called abstract strategy. We don't do things like those exciting Euro games, if you know what I'm talking about, with 100,000 parts that you have to sort out cards and pieces. No, our games are classic, and it requires creative thinking even in the strategies for those. When I started out back in 1979, 1980, I realized that there is a magazine called Games Magazine in those years. We're talking 40 years ago, who used to write about games. They would review games. So when I sent them my wooden set, just in case they would like to review it and get me some publicity, well, they loved it. They gave me almost a whole page on this one. And then little by little, as the years went by, I would also send them a review copy. And that's how I found out that I couldn't sell to stores. Stores could not do the explaining that it takes for us to demonstrate what we do. And so over the years, over 13 years or more, I was fortunate enough, honored enough, that the reviewers on Games Magazine gave me 52 mentions as being among the 100 best games either of the year or ever. And so that was an incredible satisfaction. So I don't have a set to show you, but the abstract concept is that they are pieces. And one of the things I have grown into as the years went by, when you compare the games out there in the world, I do not like to make games that require you to think of killing the other player's pieces, or capturing them, or in some ways harming them symbolically. Obviously, games that look like war, like chess is a regime change. You're trying to get rid of the other king.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry to have to say it this way, but I'm going to tell you that all the people who love checkers don't realize that in checkers, you are trying to wipe out the entire population.
Yeah.
Now, what does that mean in real life when you do that? That's not very nice. But many of my games, you need to think through the strategy. What is the best move by which to get a result without necessarily trying to break the other guy's kneecaps? And sometimes I've lately come into some strategies where you actually get to collaborate a little bit. Yeah. You have to help them so it will help you. So maybe the other player has a piece you need for something, but you have a piece they need. Well, you can offer to trade. So you both gain. And then if everyone wins, that's really very nice too.
More information on all of Kate's puzzles and games can be found on gamepuzzles.com. That's gamepuzzles.com. You can also see Kate at this year's Orchard Lake Fine Art Show in West Bloomfield on Powers and Daly Road, just off of Orchard Lake, on July 30th and 31st. And Kate Jones is with us on the Oakland County Megacast. Kate, just a few more minutes with you. And so I want to ask, when people play your games, when they interact with your puzzles or with your game boards or with any form of your art and your games, what do you hope that people ultimately get out of this experience?
Well, first they learn to recognize that this is something they want to own and they want to buy it for the family, for the friends, and they'll have it for years and years because the quality I make is very permanent. It's very durable. And if for any reason, if ever, let's say a dog eats a piece or something, you're missing a piece, I have a lifetime guarantee that I will be able to make available to them replacement parts. But what I'm hoping is that they will wake up a part of the brain that loves to think, that loves to put things together, that loves to create beautiful things. This is really what I call the soul of the universe, because the universe has systems. Everything works together in ways that we're still not fully understanding. But my puzzles are like little microcosms of universal principles, that things work well together. So we cooperate, just like families they help each other, see? So when people come up to my booth, they will find there are sets open for them to play with. They are welcome to play with. And then I can explain what to do and let them try it. And I try to find something that's suitable for that person. I had a lot of years of problems, I have to tell you this, because the public had become resistant to puzzles because they couldn't do Rubik's Cube. Rubik's Cube gave me decades of struggle to get people to want to love puzzles again, because my puzzles are different. You can play with them in any way you like. There are medium and advanced challenges for it. So anyone can play to the level that is the most pleasing for them.
Kate, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us. And we'll see you July 30th and 31st at the Orchard Lake Fine Art Show.
Nice to see you then if you come and see me. Thank you. Thank you for the visit.